Now, session starts. What I want to talk about today is what we call the Fibonacci, right? This is one of the most powerful tools you can ever get from your MT5. And where can you get the Fibonacci? You can get it in your MetaTrader 5 in your phone, your MetaTrader 5 or MetaTrader 4 as well on your laptops or phones, right? Now, since yesterday we talked about market structure and order blocks, and today in the morning again we talked about market structure and order blocks. I feel the need for us to introduce the fib, right? And like I said, this is a retracement tool. And what it does is it measures retracements, right? So why do we need to measure retracements? Why are retracements important? Let's say you just opened your MT5. Let's say you just opened your MT5. Oh, sorry, I don't know why my whiteboard is not writing. Okay, now it's writing. Let's say you opened your MT5, right? And you were follow. Oh, sorry, guys, I don't know what's happening. Just a second. I want to fix my whiteboard. Right. So let's say you just opened your MT5 and you've seen that you're in the middle of a trend. Being in the middle of a trend doesn't mean you can't find any entry, right? So what you'd want to do is you'd want to wait, let's say, for a new high, right? This is in the event of an uptrend. You'd want to wait for a new high. And what you want to do now is you want to know where your new low is going to be formed. Is it going to be here? Is it going to be here? Is it going to be there? Right. And how do you think you know that? Or how do you think you're going to predict that? This is where the Fibonacci comes in play, right? Now, what it's basically doing is helping you to know points where you can expect a low or a retracement to end before you actually continue with the trend, right? So I would want to do this. Our fib, it has different points, right? And I would want you to write this down. I know what I'm about to say. Some people, you already know it. But by default, when we open our MT5, our Fibonacci is these points. It has, let me write it down. It has the 0% level, right? It has the 23.6% level, right? 26% level, right? I want you to write this down. And it has the 38.2% level, 38.2% level, right? And it has the 50% level, 50% level, right? And it has the 61.8% level, right? And let me put a gap here. And it has the 100% level, right? 100% level, right? So you find out that we have other points like the 161.8% level, the 261.8% level. But at the end of the day, what we are going to focus on for now is we're going to focus on these levels that I've written down. Okay. Now, We don't want to spend most of our time talking things that don't work. Remember what I said. By default, your fib has these levels, right? So you'd find that we have added another level here. According to the way that I trade, I don't know how other mentors trade. I've never looked into it. But according to the way that I trade, I have the 70.5, or you can call it the 71% level, right? This is something that you can add, right? Now, since we are measuring retracements, most reactions or most retracements, they end and start reversing at the 50% level and the 61.8% level and the 71% level. Let's just call it the 71 so that we just try as much to skip the 0.5, right? Now, this doesn't mean the 38% level doesn't react. It does. The 23%, 0.6% level, it also reacts, but it doesn't react as much as these levels that I've listed. Now, you find that for the levels that I've listed, these two are the most reactive, the 61.8% level and the 71% level, right? So, say we are in an uptrend, we expect our trade to be in an uptrend, and as it tries to continue, it comes and reacts on these levels, and then it continues going up, right? Now, I've seen many people, let me contradict myself. I've seen many people, okay, mostly on, you know, here and there videos on Instagram, those not snippets, they position it in the wrong way. So what I'm going to share with you now is my screen before I continue with everything else. Um, this is my MT5, right? Now, when you are in an uptrend, guys, I want you to listen, right? When you are in an uptrend, right? I'll take my fib here. When you are in an uptrend, you place your position from the bottom going up. That's how you use the Fibonacci if your trade is in an uptrend. When you are in a downtrend, you position your fib from the top going down. That is how you position your Fibonacci when you are in a downtrend. Now, you just don't position it anyway like what I did here. What you have to be able to do, or what you have to be able to note, is your high and your low. Like for instance, we can see pretty much that we have a high here. I'll use this high. Okay, let me change color so that we all see. We have a high there. I think it's now visible. And we have a low where we have a low there. So if you want to place our Fibonacci, what we do now is we touch the high. Since it's in the downtrend, we drag it going down and we touch the low. We have positioned our Fibonacci correctly now. This means if we are going to have any retracement, we now expect it to buy up to 61.8 or 70%, and then it continues going down, right? I have so much information to share, so I won't share everything today, neither tomorrow, but we'll walk stage by stage, right? So you find that we have what you call discount and premium levels. So when I teach you about premium and discount levels, I'll also reintroduce the fib so that the two can work hand in hand, right? So let me delete everything. I hope we are understanding here. So like what we did yesterday, can someone just send me a pair that I can work on? A pair that I can work on. Eh, all the pairs that we did yesterday, they are in good blues, even the ones that we did today. So we would want to teach a concept while analyzing the market using that concept so that we really know if what I'm teaching you is real or not, right? If we have any errors, we try to find them. If we don't, then we continue, right? So you can just send any pair that you want me to analyze on my WhatsApp, and then we do that. So let's now continue with the fib. Now, let me share my whiteboard. I want to turn off my MT5 so that I present it nicely. All right. Since now we know that, say we are in an uptrend. Say we are in an uptrend. Okay. Let me try to find my tools. Let me try to find my tools. I don't know what my whiteboard is doing there. It's taking longer to load. Right. Since now we can say we are in an uptrend, right? If we place our fib here and here, what does that mean? This means that our 100% is gonna be at the bottom, right? This is where our 100 is going to be, and this is where our 0 is going to be, right? So since now we've positioned our fib, and let's say our trade is actually played out and it's near our 61.8% or our 71%, what do we expect to do, right? When it comes to booms and crashes, they might be a bit aggressive. There's someone who's writing on the whiteboard. Please, can you not write on the whiteboard? Otherwise, I'll remove you from the session, which is not a good thing. So what do we expect, right? So let's zoom in this area here. Now I'm going to draw it here. So remember, hey, there's someone who's writing on the whiteboard, guys, please. I'll remove you from the group. This is the last warning. I can see your name, so I'll easily remove you from the group. Right. So, like I said, let's try to zoom in on how this area is gonna look like. Okay. Allow me to remove this person, guys. Just a second. There's someone who's writing on the whiteboard who's putting all the zigzags. So allow me to remove them and we continue. They're actually distracting us. Sorry about that. So let's zoom in that area now. So say this was my H4. Listen carefully on this one. Say this was my H4, right? And I have a high and I have a low. What can we see in smaller time frames like M15? There's another person again writing. I'll remove you. Hendrix Moyo. Right. So let's say this is our H4. So let's just put 4 so that we know that this is our H4. In our M15, what you actually see is highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. So this high here is this high here that I'm putting, and this low here is this low that I'm putting. So in our M15, what we are going to see is highs and lows, right? Since we've placed our fib, we're expecting it to reach at least our 61.8% or our 71%, which is somewhere there. Now, what I do is when I'm trading boom and crash, as soon as I reach the 61.8%, I take my first entry. Why? Because sometimes it can be a bit slow to break structure, right? But if I'm trading smaller time frames, if I'm trading other pairs, sorry, like V51S, actually this is a good trick. V51S, what it does, I want you to go and look at it after this session. It first respects the 50 and then it fools you into thinking that it's buying. and then it comes and respects the 61.8% and then it goes up. I don't know why it does that, but I trade it a lot enough to know how it reacts, right? So when we are trading this space now, since we have that market structure in M15, as we approach the 61 and the 71, we expect it to give us a change of character, a break of market structure, and it goes, right? So this is what we expect. Whenever we are trading using any concept, we want to see a change of character, which is the first break of the first recent high in the event of an uptrend, right? And we want to see a break of structure after that. Now, so now that you have entered your trade, how do you know when it's time to exit? Right. So I want you to listen at this again. You know, most people they get vexed when it comes to entries and exits. These are the most important things. So now that you have your high, right? You have your low, right? We say this is in the event of an uptrend, and you have entered, let's say, with your 61.8% here, right? Where is your stop loss? Your stop loss is just soon after this low, right? And why are you putting a stop loss there? Because if your trade was to come, right, and hit your 100% level here and break it, what does it mean? It also means it has broken this low, which might signal you a change in direction. I hope you are understanding that. No super guys. This is where most people fail, right? So now what most people will try to do is when a trade doesn't play out, don't fight it, leave it, right? So what most people will try to do is, let's say they've entered, right? I'll keep on putting this, I'll go to the live chat, like what you do every time. What they do is when they enter using the 61.8% or the 71, what they do is they approach the low, they start adding more entries, right? And then when it breaks, they start even adding more entries. But you should be able to know that it is broken. Now, since I have taught you about order blocks, I want you to listen at this again. Usually, your fib is going to align with your order blocks or gaps. I haven't taught you gaps yet, right? But usually your fib is going to align with the order blocks or gaps. So let's create a situation. Remember, we are still going to go to the live chat. Everything I'm saying here, you're going to see it on the live chat. So let's create a situation whereby we were in an uptrend, right? Since now we know that we have a low here, you can actually see that the last buy before you sold was here, and then it goes up, right? So some people might want to fight with this order block here. Maybe let me change color. Maybe they'll try to fight with an order block they see at this area. Oh, sorry, let me put a darker shade. They'll try to fight with an order block that they see here. And then they'll forget the order block that they see here. But the moment you place your fib, what are you going to see? You're going to see that, let's say we've made our new high, and this is your 100 for your Fibonacci, and this is your 0 for the Fibonacci. What you actually have to be aware of is the moment you are retracing, that 61.8% usually, or the 71% usually, they go hand in hand with order blocks, right? And then instead of you now confusing yourself if you should wait to come for your trade to come and respect this order block, you just have to simply take this one and then you continue going up. Why? Because you now have two reasons to enter that trade. You have the 61.8%, you have the order block at your disposal, right? So let's go to the actual chart and I'll show you what I mean. So let me check my WhatsApp if there's someone who sent me a pair to look at. Okay, there's only one person here who was first who said V51S. So let's go to V51s. Let me share my screen. Uh, but the funny part is I don't even trade V51s, but analysis is the same. Okay, let me share my screen. Right, so let's go to V51s. Let me do this. Yeah. Okay, don't mind this one. It's a system. We don't want to work with that one. So where is V51 at? V50. Let me search for it. 150. 150S is it? Right. Yeah. So here is your volatility 150S. Right. Um, don't know why my chart is slow loading. Let me choose a different time frame. Maybe it's my network. Yeah, it was my network. Now, usually what I want to do is I want to look at a pair from a larger perspective, right? And from what we can see from our daily chart, let's start with the daily. Our daily chart is in a downtrend. I think we can both see that, right? And what is our H4 saying? Our H4 is saying that we are in a downtrend as well. And where am I getting what I'm saying? We can clearly see that we have a high, a low, a high, right? A low, a high, a low, right? We have another high, a low. This is when it decided to want to switch to an uptrend, but it failed. A high. Now we have another new low and we have another new high over here. So pretty much we don't have any new high that's made at this point, right? But any new low, I mean. So we have to wait for the formation of a new low so that we can actually tell where this retracement is going to end before it comes down. But what I can do right now is, let me do this. We want to show you something that goes with the flow. Right. So when we made this high, right, what came after that? We had a low and we had a high. So let's try to put our fib in place. What are we going to see? We are going to see that this in this particular trade, it came and directly reacted on the 50%, right? But when it reacted on the 50%, let me delete this noise so that we all see what I mean here. Like I always say, these are concepts that you actually have to see in place playing. So now what you can see is we have this high that we have here, right? And we have this low that we have here. And for this low that was made, we have this retracement. And what you can see is it ended on the 50%. Now, if you move from H4 going into M30, let's try to locate that point. What do you see in that M30? Okay, where is that point exactly? All right, it's here. What do you see in M30? In M30, it's kind of noise. You can't really see anything. Let's go in M15, which is the last time frame that I'll try to use. Now, what you see in M15? In M15, you can actually see that as we approached our fib level, where is it? Right, it's here. So let me zoom again a bit. As we approached our fib level 50, you can see that we have a high, a low, a high, a low, a high. Let me change color. I know some people are not seeing what I'm writing. Let me put, which color should I put there? Let me put okay, let me use green, that green, because it's refusing for me to use that. Okay, yeah, right. Let me use this one. So we have a high, a low, 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 a high. Now we have our first change of character, which is here, high, a low, and we have our breakout structure, which happens here. So what you can actually see now is as we approach those levels that I talked about, for you to be able to be confident that I'm now selling, you need to see your change of character first and your breakout structure. And what happened after that, you see that it started selling, right? So let me delete this. We want to work with this particular point so that we support that we are still in a downtrend, right? And what you see after that, what you see after that is even if you try to come and mark this point here, this is the move that was responsible for the breakout structure that happened here. So now this is our order block that gave us a play. And what happens if we put a Fibonacci to that? You can come and touch this high and touch this low. Now you see our retracement happened on the 71% here, right? And for that particular time frame, what happened before it respected that 71%? We have a low, a high, 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 a change of character, right? A breakout structure, right? And then we continue. Now, we want to measure the retracement that came soon after that as well. What do you see? If we take our fib, let's remove this one. Now we want to focus on the next one, on the next move that it gave. If we take our fib and we measure it from this area, from this high to this low, where did that retracement happen? On the 71%, right? And we want to see what our market structure looked like. What can you now see? We have a low, a high, a low, a high, low, a high, a low, a high, change of character, breakout structure, a low, a high. Now we start going downwards. It's as easy as that. So let me see if someone gave us a pay. Okay. Hey, I'm not getting many pairs, and with the time that we have, I won't be able to do all of them. But I'll let me choose. Let me be fair. Let me be fair. There's a person who said V25S. This is the analysis that followed after. I feel like there's still a lot of things that I have to teach you about the fib, and most probably it's just time that is hitting us, right? But let's go and focus on V25. Okay, so is that V25? Now, likewise, what do? We start checking our structure from where we start checking it from larger time frames. And boy, yeah, this one is pretty much on a very heavy bullish movement. So we don't pretty much have anything that we can rule out on V25S unless it gives us a high, right? But let me try to do it in this way so that we see. The reason why now I hate using these lines, you see, this now looks like a false breakout. But let me try to see if we can get a channel. Still, it doesn't make sense, but let me try to make sense out of this one because it was pivoting here, right? So now this is our V25 ones, right? So This is in M5, which is a scalping time frame. So if we are scalping, what do you expect? You see that we have a, let me mark this, we have a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, and we are expecting a high here, right? So us expecting a high here, even though it's not yet fully formed, what do we do when we witness that we have a high? We come, we take our fib. Where is our most previous low from this time frame? It's here, right? And where is our expected area of our new high? There, right? So when we take our fib, what we do now is we touch the high and, sorry, since we're in an uptrend, we touch the low going upwards, right? Sorry. I picked the wrong two. Take the low going upwards. Now, what are our expectations? We expect our trade to retrace where we expect it to retrace to the 61.8% or the 71%. Now, what are the things that we are going to make use of? I haven't taught you about gaps yet, but what you can now see is we have a gap here, right? And these are most responsive areas if a trade is to trace to them. And this gap is aligning with the 61.8% and the 70%, right? So if we get a straight retracement, we expect it to come to the 61 or the 70, give us a shift in market structure, and then it continues, right? So this is based from the channel. This is my small analysis for V25, right? So what we need to do is we need to get a very strong confirmation on this high that we are having in this M5 channel. And then when it creates, we just let it flow down with market structure and then we continue, right? Now, someone said, check step index. We pretty much have 4 minutes remaining to our session. So I'll use the next 2 minutes to check on step index. Right. So let me wrap this off. Now we are getting a confirmed high. So if you are trading V25 based from what I said, you just wait for it to retrace and then you buy it. Simple, just like that. Right. So let's go to step index. Where is my step index? Hey, we have many types of step index. Deriv gave us many step indexes. So I don't know which one you mean now. Let me just choose the base one, which is the step index we are all used to. So we start by H4. Um, I don't know what you guys see based from our H4. All right. Now let me tell you what I see based from our H4. Currently, our H4 want to have two supporting points. First, we have a high. Actually, let's start from here so that we understand how to mark. So here we had a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high that failed to break, right? A change of character here, right? And then what do we have? A low, a high, a low, a high that failed to break, and a low which actually broke this previous low. So we have a shift in market structure in H4. But because of how close our price is playing, I'm just expecting it to give us, very close highs and lows, close highs and lows, until it decides it wants to buy or it wants to go in a long sell, right? But my sentiments for now, they remain in a sell. Now, what do I do if I'm in a situation like this? Since this is the move that broke my structure here, I now have to look for a fib and I now have to look for an OB. So what I do is I come on the newly made high here, and my low. Now, what you can see is we are currently at our 71% level. Is there anything that can say, you know what, you are supposed to be selling? Yes, we have an OB here, which just broke our structure down there, right? So now we move on to smaller time frames. Let me just jump straight to M15. And what do I expect my M15 to do? You can as well see that we have another OB in M15. If we talk about the way that we were refining order blocks yesterday, that broke structure here. But at the same time, if you look at it, we are playing on the 71% level. So now what we want to do is we want to witness a shift in market structure, which can be characterized by a break, by our first change of character, and then our break of market structure. Then we continue going downwards. So my ruling for step index based on the fib and based on the order block, we are supposed to be selling. And where are we supposed to be selling? We are supposed to be selling at areas where we are now. So what we do now is we just wait for a shift, break of market structure, change of character, and the break of market structure. So simply, that's how you use the fib.